No, bro. No, that is so wrong, bro. That is so
Yeah,
wrong.
we got to make a special entrance. You know that.
So
Oh,
wrong, bro. So many levels, dude.
No. No.
Game over, man. Game over.
Yeah.
I mean, the K.
Game over, man.
All right, welcome back to another episode of Cover to Cover. Tonight we got ZZ Top Eliminator. Before I get into that, I want to do take a shot to Dusty Hill. Rest in peace, brother. ZZ Top, one of those bands, especially prior to this album, kind of a niche style, that Texas boogie woogie. They had notoriety, but there wasn't a whole lot of notoriety outside of their home state and outside of maybe select group of the genre. What the heck is going on?
Because they've been around for quite a while, and
yep, it started out as the Moving Sidewalks.
Do you know what year? Was it the late 60s?
Late 60s. 68, I believe. Billy had formed the band with a couple other gentlemen. I can't remember their name. Dusty Hill and Frank Beard came later. And that was when they changed the name to ZZ Top. It was about 69, I think they joined the band. And that was the lineup up until Dusty passed away last year.
Yep.
So that, as far as I know, ZZ Top is that's the longest running continuous lineup ever that I know of. That's 54 years, 54 years,
53.
So
68 or 69?
68 or 69. 69, I think Dusty and Frank joined.
Okay.
But Billy Gibbons is credited as teaching Hendrix slide guitar.
That's crazy.
And he is obviously a well-known blues guitarist.
Killer voice.
Dusty had a great voice too. Yeah, I mean, you can definitely tell the different styles coming out of those two gentlemen. To my knowledge, I don't know that Frank did any leads through their career, but he may have. I do know he wore a headset, so he probably did backup mostly. But
let's not forget to mention that the drummer with the last name Beard was the only
one without.
How ironic, right? That always was cool.
It's almost like it was planned that way.
Yeah.
Now the iconic long beards that became well known, especially with this album and the videos. That didn't develop until 77 after their big world tour. They went on hiatus, and both Dusty and Billy decided to grow their beards out long. And during that period, I had in my research that I just did this morning actually. They vacationed. I forget where Billy went, but Dusty vacationed in Mexico, and Frank Beard bought a house and ended up building a studio. And the way the description of it sounded, it was pretty state of the art for 78, 79. And, vacationed. I forget where Billy went, but Dusty vacationed in Mexico, and Frank Beard bought a house and ended up building a studio. The way the description of it sounded, it was pretty state of the art for 78, 79. And, vacationed. I forget where Billy went, but Dusty vacationed in Mexico, and incidentally, part of this album was recorded at his home, at Frank's home. This was their 8th studio album. It was released March 23rd, 1983. So, lo and behold, coming up on 40 years for it. On Warner Brother Records, big staple throughout the decades in rock. It was recorded during the 1982 year and produced by Bill Ham, and Bill Ham was pretty much their go-to guy. Bill had his own production companies. He is credited for discovering the country singer Clint Black. Clint Black was a big deal in the country circuit in the early 90s. And I believe I saw him live way back when I was a kid. Awesome voice that guy has. But Bill Ham has a production company, Lone Wolf, and that comes into play later in the story of this album. But he had involvement with other artists such as Eric Johnson. Eric Johnson's a fantastic guitar player. If you've never heard him, check him out. He's got a song, pretty well known, called "Cliffs of Dover." Awesome guitar song. So before I go any further, I want to point out some members of the community popped in the chat. What's going on, Jeff? How are you? K-pop, how you doing, lady?
We good, legend.
Great legend, my friend. Was just thinking about you today. I'm gonna reach out. I'm thinking about starting the music conversation back up after the first of the year. I want to get some people on, and you're on my list. As is K-pop. Like pretty much everybody's on my list to get on the show. I just like talking about it. But I just got derailed. I can't remember what I was saying. Oh, Bill Ham produced it. It was recorded, as I said before, at Frank Beard's home in his new studio, Ardent Studios in Memphis, and Terry Manning's home in Memphis. And Terry Manning was the engineer on the album, and he was their go-to engineer, basically. And he's also a photographer, a composer, singer-songwriter. He's worked with an incredible list of people, from Led Zeppelin to Iron Maiden, Bryan Adams.
Bryan Adams?
Yep, Bryan Adams, Lenny Kravitz, Joe Cocker, Joe Walsh. I mean, the list goes on and on for this gentleman.
Check out the chat, Donnie. Check out the chat. If you're gonna, you need to wear a dress if you're gonna do STP.
Yeah. And I've heard Legend sing. He does have a nice, elegant little voice. Terry Manning, he was their go-to guy on this album for engineer, and they also used or partnered with a gentleman called Lyndon. Where's it at? Lyndon Hudson, who was their pre-recording engineer. But he was very instrumental in this album as well. The this album is a rather significant departure from the traditional ZZ Top sound. It's a lot more electronic and synth laden, as opposed to the original Boogie Woogie, Texas Boogie Woogie, that they were known for, and the
The show's just started, and I already know what my highlight of the night's gonna be.
uh-oh,
Every time you say Boogie Woogie, I love it.
Boogie Woogie. Boogie Woogie. They are, that's what they were known for, but this like I said, this is a departure from what they normally did, what they were known for prior to the release of this album. Billy had seen what was becoming popular, and basically, like other bands like Rush, they decided to go in that. He decided he wanted to go in that direction, bringing in the synthesizers and the electronic drum machines. Unfortunately, this kind of created a little bit of controversy with this album because during the process of mixing and so forth, Frank and Dusty's contributions sort of got nixed. And I was kind of, I won't say heartbroken, but I was a little flabbergasted to find this out. But it seemed like they weren't bothered by it. They just kind of went with the flow. I didn't see any. I guess it was more of a fan controversy. In fact, Dusty Hill said that the fan reaction to the album was similar to the fan reaction of Bob Dylan going electric, and a lot of their fans were kind of disappointed with the album, but at the same time they were bringing in a whole new audience.
This is their Black album, dude. This
is their Black album.
This is their Black album.
It put them in the mainstream. Not just the album itself, but the fact of when it came out. MTV was burgeoning and on the rise. There was they released 4 singles with this, 4 high-powered singles, along with the videos associated with those singles.
Saw them videos a lot growing up, man. Jeez,
So
all the time.
I said on the last show I have the Matchbox. I just didn't feel like going up over Heather Garage and getting it out. Otherwise, I'd have it.
They caught Magic in a Bottle. It's one of those albums that just everything was perfect.
Yep.
Magic in a Bottle. I'm sure this changed their lives.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, definitely Magic in a Bottle, considering it's their 8th album.
Yeah.
And it was that good.
This is their Whitesnake, bro. This is their Whitesnake album, bro.
For sure.
That says it all. That says it all, bro. That says it all.
You said
End of
it.
show. Game over.
But yeah, they had he going backwards. Billy had actually kind of started to go the synth pop kind of direction with the previous album, Loco, but it was more prevalent with this album, and in a sense, it made the album a lot tighter, which is something that they had discussed in the research that I discovered, and the sound was
tighter
and more cohesed. What's up, Barbarian?
That was great. That was great. I don't think it was Brittany though.
Yeah, it was Christina.
Christina. Who cares?
Same shit.
Different pile. Yep.
But I had this album spinning in the truck the last 2 weeks. Did it on repeat like I did the last album, and listening to it and knowing the big songs as I did, Legs and Sharp Dressed Man and so forth. If you listen to not those songs, if you listen to some of the other songs, you can still hear the boogie woogie overtone.
Yeah.
Boogie woogie.
Mm-hmm.
But it's definitely more 80s sounding than everything that they did before, especially like their early records, like Diguelo and Tres Hombres. I love Tres Hombres. It's a great record.
It holds up though. I mean, considering
It does.
Oh yeah.
When I hear it, me personally, I don't hear 80s. I don't know if it's just because I'm so used to it, or it just does. To me, it doesn't have. I don't know. That's just me. I don't hear 80s with this album.
I don't need man. It still rocks.
Definitely a good rock, bluesy rock album.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Exactly. Talking about the electronic and the synth sounds and the drum machines, with the way it was done, and that kind of, it made it a little more difficult for them to replicate certain songs live. And in fact, Frank Beard had, through his headset, one of the techs had a cassette, and he would, press play when kind of giving Frank a cue on what he was supposed to do on songs that had those changes like that.
Yeah, I can understand that being hard. I was always amazed with Pantera when they played live, because when they recorded, Dime, he would record two guitars,
right?
And live, it's just one guitar, so I guess they would play that recording of the other guitar track, and then he would just do his thing.
Well, Billy kind of did a similar thing on this when they were recording the guitars. He had recorded them on different tracks. They kind of doubled up the guitars. So just like that, it was harder because let's face it, they're a 3-piece. So
yeah,
it made it more difficult for them to repeat what they had done there.
Plus have that
carry the backing tracks with them.
Because their sound sounds full,
Right.
Yeah, Cemetery Gates is the jam for sure.
Going back to the popularity of this album. This album was, I know some people might scoff at it, but it spent 101 weeks on the Canadian album charts.
Gee. That's
unreal.
unreal.
101 weeks on any chart is amazing. So even the Canadian album charts, and they were probably going against some pretty heavy bands on those charts.
At that time, yeah, dude.
I know even the home band Rush and some other Canadian bands were still very popular, even with the direction that they went. But not only that, it peaked at number 9 on the Billboard 200.
Hey Donnie, real quick.
Yeah.
So did they? I don't know, I'm trying to read it with you and kind of go along with you, but did they pretty much do all the drumming on this with drum machines, or was it a mixture of both? Or
they had,
because I'm seeing here it said most of Beard's drumming was replaced by a drum machine.
They had pre-recorded everything, but then when they went into the mixing and post recording after Frank and Dusty, basically they went back home. Dusty or Billy and Bill Ham went back in and redid all the stuff with the drum machines and the synthesizers, adding in the synthesizers. So it was all kind of replaced. Bill Ham did the bass parts on the keyboard. So in my estimation, all the original stuff that they had was gone. That's what I take out of that. And it was all synthesizer and drum machine.
So Beard at some point is probably like, what the hell am I even doing here?
Right.
Just filling a void basically for live shows, it seemed like.
The fact that it seems like there was no animosity, it says a lot about them, though.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, and for them to continue on like they did for 5 decades.
Yeah, that says a lot about the people they probably are. No ego or very little ego.
True professional.
Yeah.
Right. But it peaked at number 9 on the Billboard charts. It's their most successful album to date.
Mm-hmm.
Certified diamond, 11 million albums sold.
Magic in a bottle.
Yep. Like I said, 4 singles, music videos, production, sales, the car. I mean, fuck's sakes, they made a Matchbox car.
Dude, it was a product. It was a product, man. They just got everything, and the visual, the music,
and that was all part of Bill Ham's vision. He was their manager. He was their producer. He was he created the vision for the band. But I should probably go back to Lyndon Hudson. Lyndon Hudson was their pre-production engineer, and he was involved a lot with this album. But in post-production, there were certain things that happened that led to a lawsuit. They kind of left his name out of it, and he didn't get the credit that he probably should have. I guess it's kind of between those that are in the room, their word against, his word against theirs or whatever. But he ended up winning a lawsuit, and he got the credit on one of the tracks. Thug, he solely wrote himself for the band. But controversial, maybe, but maybe not as bad as what it's been put out to be here. Successful album, majorly successful album. Great
timing. Perfect timing.
Perfect timing for that, especially. Yeah. Kind of like a lot of bands get into that. They're on the grind for years and years, and like Twisted Sister or Whitesnake, the aforementioned Whitesnake. And all of a sudden, boom, it's just that one.
Yeah.
That's all it takes.
Look at you two. They had like 6 albums before they broke out.
I'm looking at this interesting fact here where backing up to the drum thing, with the song Legs. Did you see that? Where Manning had took the tape home to his 24 track and tried to clean it up and then replaced the drums and programmed it with Oberheim DMX drum machine and snare drum, hi-hats, this, that, and the other, and then it says 8 years later, giving thanks Al Jorgensen because of his early Ministry drum samples had been used to polish Eliminator. So am I reading that right? That the Ministry, one of the Ministry albums was kind of like a inspiration for their drum machine tweaking? Did I read that right?
Sounds right.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's two bands, you definitely don't see in the same room together.
Yeah.
The thing is,
so what was, obviously was Manning involved with the Ministry or was it just because it was a band that used that? I don't know. It's interesting because that's like Ministry's like way out in left field compared to ZZ Top.
Yeah, but the thing is,
even if it is with drum machines and stuff like that,
Ministry in 1983, they weren't the Ministry of the 90s where they were. They were like almost like a Depeche Mode.
Yeah,
they were super soft. They weren't hardcore. They weren't hard, industrial. They were more Depeche Mode, more New Order kind of ish. It was all electronic. It was almost like they were almost like a DJ, it's the beats, and then it wasn't hard. That's what I'm trying to say.
Okay.
So that makes it even more interesting. It's not
I'm not familiar with the early Ministry. I just know them from the industrial revolution.
That's not Palm 69, I think. They weren't that bad at that time. They were a lot softer. So that's super interesting. If that's what happened, that's crazy. Wow. Real cool. I never would have expected that. Yeah, ZZ Top and Ministry connection.
I know. I read that last part. I don't know how many times to make sure I was reading it right.
Wow, that's great.
Never would have thought it.
Yeah, there's this song called Halloween that Ministry did from back then. Every day is Halloween, man. I just fucking love that song, dude. It's a total goth. They were more goth back then. Yeah. More goth, yeah.
But that kind of goes along with this band and this album, how sounds change, because it's like the ZZ Top that I know, or that I knew before I got into their earlier stuff, is this ZZ Top. Just like the Ministry. I don't know their earlier Ministry, or I don't know who's another one. I don't really know the later Rush, like Signals and Forward. Because with Rush I started with the earlier stuff, with better stuff. Anyway,
it almost feels like ZZ Top was playing in bars, and clubs, maybe, I don't know, bars. It seems like ZZ Top was bars, and when they hit this, they were stadiums. It's like it's skyrocket. It's like their album that came after this, Afterburner, was kind of like the car in space. That's almost like how they got shot out. They got from when this album came out, they went through the stratosphere. It was like everybody knew ZZ Top before Eliminator. It was just, you would hear the songs on the radio, but it was like, and then this was like, what?
And I think too, I think the music video revolution at the time also helped it too, big time. A lot of bands like that, you know, because you said MTV had only been around for about a year now when this album came out.
This is the
And
right time, man. It was the right time, dude.
Yeah.
And they got the whole video thing down, dude. I mean, everybody was doing the, you know, and that car, dude. It's everything. It was perfect.
I'm kind of looking up the singles. So far, let's see, TV dinners. Three out of 4 of them, because I know Legs was probably a top 10. It had to have been a top 10 because that song, that video was everywhere.
Those girls, those legs.
Year-end charts. Yep. 3 out of 4 of the singles that propelled this album were top 10 singles.
Which one wasn't?
TV Dinner. And
TV Dinner. TV Dinner.
It's a great song.
Yeah.
It has. That's one of the ones that still has some of the boogie woogie elements.
Yeah.
Just like
bro, we should have done a drinking game, bro. Every time
I say boogie woogie,
we take a shot. That would have been great.
Somebody in the chat's probably already drunk. Oh. If I could only flag her down is a throwback to their earlier days. I felt Dirty Dog in some ways as well. And the song I Need You Tonight, it doesn't sound, it's the only one that I can't place as a ZZ Top song.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds like Sammy Hagar era Van Halen, if that makes any sense.
Mm-hmm.
Still a great song.
Mm-hmm. It's a good album, man. This album is good all around.
I agree with that.
And the original album title, I forgot, was going to be Top Fuel. So it was always going to be automotive associated. But the Eliminator came about, was a term brought up by Bill Ham that was from his youth that involved, it was a racing term with the cars eliminating each other. And that was the one that ended up sticking. But this cover,
badass, bro.
Such a great cover.
It's badass.
Love it. And I don't know, I didn't find anything on who did it. Who did the album cover. But I always liked the logo. It just about every incarnation of the ZZ Top logo, I loved it. I don't know if you've ever seen their first record. It's called ZZ Top's first album. Mm-hmm. It's all like that fancy font.
Mm-hmm.
I'm assuming Bill Ham was heavily involved in all that because he was the one to come up with a lot of the design features and stuff for the band, promotion of the band, and so I'm sure he's the one that designed their covers. I don't know about that first record. I don't know how far his relationship with them goes back, but just the
The headlights. Yeah.
The headlights, the light coming off the headlights. And I saw different variations of this. The one, I think it was the deluxe release. The light was all white on that one. And then there was another one. This is the vinyl release. And I think the first release on CD, it was all this yellow here, and then the ends was white.
Okay.
So subtle changes, kind of like we talked about that with Master of Puppets, how there was certain things that weren't in the original that are in different things later.
It has a heavy metal kind of feel.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think the image of the car and their car is kind of like their trademark. To me, represents their sound. The car looks smooth as hell, and their sound is smooth.
And classic.
Yeah.
Much like those fuzzy guitars. I look back on those and I'm thinking, oh my God, that's so 80s.
It's cheesy, right? It's almost, especially when the guitars spin and when they, it's cheesy, but dude, it was cool as shit back then, man.
So much so they had them do it in Back to the Future 3.
Yep, there you go. Influential.
So I guess one of the songs.
Yep.
Do it.
I mean, I tried to earlier. I tried to listen to the songs that I didn't hear very much. Of course, there's the first three songs and Legs. I mean,
yeah, the first half of this album, it's like
everybody's heard it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At least it's especially with the first six, I'll say. Yeah. Except for maybe I Got the Six. That song I'd never heard before listening to this album. Thug I'd never heard. TV Dinners I had.
I never even put 2 and 2 that I Got the Six Hill singing it.
Yeah.
I never even put two and two together in that one. Not bad.
His voice is more rock, whereas Billy's is more the blues.
Yeah.
And Billy has that kind of more that deeper tone,
deep mumble,
kind of growl. Yeah, kind of that blues.
Yeah,
blues sound, and Dusty had a great. His voice kind of put me in mind of some of the Bachman Turner Overdrive stuff, particularly the song sung by Turner, because Turner had that same kind of, dual layered rock voice that came out. It was just blasted out of the speakers, and that's the way. That's my impression of I got the Six. I mean, that his voice just blah comes out at you in that song.
Dinners looking amazing.
I think my favorite song is I'm going to go with I Need You Tonight.
That's a good one. I was surprised, for that one. I like that one too.
I agree.
But I Give Me All Your Love, and I know it's been played over and over and over and over and over again, but I never get tired of hearing that song.
What's your favorite little boat?
Honestly, it's overrated, but I think Sharp Dress Man. It's overrated, but it's overrated for a reason.
It's hard on this album to pick a favorite.
Yeah. It is. I was just gonna say that. I guess it's a toss up between "I Need You Tonight" and "Got Me Under Pressure." That guitar hook and "Got Me Under Pressure" is great.
Dude, I like TV dinners, man. I don't know
It's a great song.
I did too. Yeah.
I'm gonna go with TV dinners, dude.
Go with it.
Yeah, I'm going with TV dinners.
It's like some of these songs I think of movies or something, you know, that you hear in movies. Every time I hear them, I think of certain things like that.
I don't know. It's just...
Every time I hear Sharp Dress Man, I have a story where I sing Shirt Dress Man.
Where you wear a really oversized shirt.
Back when I was younger, quick little side story. When I was younger, I had me and a couple buddies used to help his dad out. His dad worked for a car dealership, like a little mom and pop car lot. Mm-hmm. We'd have to go to St. Pete or Tampa area to car auction. He would go to car auctions and buy cars and then bring them back and sell them on his car lot. So he would use us to drive cars.
Cool.
Well, every time that we would go to this one particular auction, there was a big old boy. I'm talking big old boy. This guy must have been like 400+ pounds, you know.
Uh-huh.
And this was back in the day when people would wear them really long T-shirts and stuff.
Right. Yeah.
So we would always call that guy Shirt Dress Man. You know, women go crazy over Shirt Dress Man.
Nice.
So I think of that every time I hear that song.
Shirt Dress Man.
This album was pretty badass. The one that came after was badass. Not as good like this, but you could see the influence that they tried to do it again, but not to this degree.
I have a bunch of their albums that I have Afterburner on digital, and that's not one I've listened to a whole lot. I haven't really listened to this one a whole lot, except for the last 2 weeks.
The thing is, you don't need to, man. They still play these songs.
Oh yeah, yeah.
There's really no need to go back and I haven't heard this in years because you hear these songs constantly.
Yeah.
Even still, you know, it's like this month we're gonna play Sharp Dress Man on the radio. You know, if that's what you're listening to, and beyond. And next month we're doing Legs, and that's on repeat on the radio.
I'll tell you what, Legs is the one song that I don't mind skipping every time it comes on.
Yep.
I've been tired of that song for 25 years now already.
Yeah.
I think out of the 4 singles, I'm gonna say that one was probably played the most.
Mm-hmm. I believe so.
Yeah, just because it was an 80s thing to do, you know. But
yeah, that's the one. That one's overplayed. You skip it. Not that it's any. That's not. It's not by no means that it's bad. It's just the song on this album that got done.
I was just gonna say something. I don't remember what.
Have any of you ever seen them live?
No.
Nope.
Yeah, me neither.
Closest I've ever come to that is a local band does a very good version of LaGrange.
Mm-hmm.
And
that might be my favorite song of theirs.
When he sings it, he sounds like Billy singing it.
I think that might be my favorite song of theirs.
But
yeah, totally.
And VH1. Whenever MTV stopped playing it, then VH1 wore it out.
Yep. VH1. Pop-up video, all that stuff.
Yep. Wore it out.
You'd even see one of them occasionally on Beavis and Butthead. This song sucks.
I don't see them like that.
No, yeah, I don't.
I could
consider them a novelty band. I mean,
I could
The
see where
videos,
that could, yeah.
To me, their videos are like novelty. You know, all the cliches. You know, the cars and the girls and the.
Okay.
Yeah, weird. Yeah, I guess you can, but once you delve into them and you see all the stuff that all the years they've been around and put in the work and the grind and all that, then you realize that they're not a novelty band. You know, they weren't a flash in the pan, dude. They worked their ass off.
I guess I can see where someone would get that impression.
Yeah.
Especially with the amount of exposure that this album provided. It's just like, I guess we could go along those lines. Whitesnake.
That's what I was getting ready to say. You know, whenever they hit it and they get to that new audience, you know, that new audience didn't know of anything beforehand.
Right.
And I guess this could apply for them also. Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely. The thing you got to think of too. What did you say, Donnie? This was the number 9 album of the year.
Yeah, it peaked at 9 on the Billboard.
Peaked at 9, right? Think about it. This album was massive, right? This album was massive. Just think of the year of that 1983, where this album was number 9. Just think of everything else that was blowing up.
Yeah. No kidding, man.
In 1983, for them, we're still talking to them like it's like, dude, they caught this, they caught that. This album is good. It was their black, it was their whatever, it was them going electric. In 1983, to be able to do that in that year says something, dude. That was Prince, that was the Police, all of the Madonna. This album's number 9. Any other year, this album is top 3 or 4. It's crazy.
Michael Jackson.
Yeah.
I mean, he went up against Michael Jackson.
Springsteen. It was all those guys coming out.
Hall and Oates. I'm seeing Hall and Oates here with Man Eater and Men at Work.
That album was massive, man. That was private. Was it Private Eyes?
And the Police.
Yeah. It was a crazy time for music, man.
Yeah, I think that was that the last Police album?
Yeah.
Released that year?
Every breath you take.
Synchronicity, yeah. Dude, it was a crazy time, man. And a lot of it is due to MTV.
Yeah.
You know?
Flashdance.
David Bowie, yeah. All these people all of a sudden were stadiums instead of sportatoriums or auditoriums that they were playing at before this. For them to be number 9, dude, it just says a lot of the year that they came out in. It was massive.
But I will say this too, that I've mentioned with other albums we've done, and how I believe that other albums shouldn't be on this top list, because of one good song or 2 good songs.
Right.
This album definitely deserves to be on.
Yeah. No question. No question.
Yeah. Like you said, this is like a Back in Black album. Every damn song is a banger.
That's exactly right. That's how I compare it to Back in Black. This album, I compare it to Back in Black.
And when you have that, that's when it should be in the top 100 albums of all time.
Yeah.
Like you have a whole album like that that's super good, not just one song.
Exactly. Like Legs to me is Shook Me All Night Long. That's you skip Shook Me All Night Long when you're listening to Back in Black because you've heard it a million times. You do the same thing with Legs, but it doesn't mean that it's a bad song. It's just it's been so much
played out. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's great. Yeah. Back in Black. Totally. I totally get it.
Yeah, but I don't think Aha had a top 10 album.
No. Well, maybe I don't know on that one song. Who knows if they were able to.
Well, let's go off the rails and I'll look.
Yeah. First time on cover to cover.
Going off the rails.
You've been challenged.
No, Comic Journey. Yeah, I still put Back in Black above this. Definitely.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. but it reminds me of Back in Black.
I can't find it.
Oh man, I'm so happy you just said Back in Black, because that's what I think of this album, dude. It's everything coming together. That's their Black album. You know, Back in Black was just everything was perfect. They put in the years, and that out, and that album's still more incredible. We've talked about that album, dude. Even losing your lead singer, and then that happens, dude. That's unheard of. No aha on Google, huh? Nothing comes up.
That album peaked at number 15.
Wow. On one song.
In 1985.
On one song. But that's a massive song. Caught the video craze perfect too, man.
Not too bad for a little Norwegian band.
Mm-mm. Yeah.
Definitely.
They were a beast for a long time.
Yeah. That album still holds up. This album does too as well. This album still rocks.
We did Back in Black. We did it Highway to Hell.
Yeah, I think we did that with Steve.
This is a good album to listen to while you're having a few drinks, This is a good that or driving.
Yeah.
Not say do both.
A latte.
One or the other.
You can have your latte, K-pop.
This isn't elevator music, definitely. It's not that album. And probably the louder you put it, the better.
Talk about your novelties. Their video is a filter on Instagram.
Yeah, exactly.
Is there any other bands that have Z in the name or the first letter?
Zebra.
Okay, is that it?
That's all I can think of right now.
I can't think of any.
I feel like they were like
Not
one
many.
of the only ones to do that.
Yeah,
Well,
what's
let's
the
put it this
Z?
way.
What's the Z and Z represent? That's kind of
They picked it because it's out of the ordinary. It's Z.
is like. Was there any history on the name?
It makes a cool logo. You could play with that shit a lot, different variations of the ZZ.
Because I know Sam Raimi did that with one of his movies, and it was going to be named XYZ because Z grabs attention, I guess.
Yeah.
Here's your explanation. Gibbons particularly noticed B.B. King and Z.Z. Hill and thought of combining the two into Z.Z. King, but considered it too similar to the original name. He then figured that King is at the top, which gave him the idea of naming the band ZZ Top.
Simple enough.
So straight blues referenced.
Yeah.
Their name, their theme up until this album, at any rate.
I don't think so.
Not that I'm aware of. Billy still has his.
Yeah.
In fact, that new guy on the bass, that Elwood Francis or whatever his name is, he's like the mystery man.
Is he growing it out? And
he came into the band with a beard.
Okay, and it's just getting longer.
I guess, I don't know.
He can't do that, dude. He cannot do that.
His hair's all freaking disheveled and stuff. He's got his own look. I mean, he's taller. You know how tall Billy Gibbons is. He's taller than Billy too.
Yeah.
I remember who he is, but
I remember back in the 90s, I think it was the 90s. I remember hearing that Gillette had offered Billy Gibbons $1 million to shave his beard.
I guess that's what Comic Journey's referencing. Then I guess.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Look at that.
That's what he's
I'm a little
referencing.
late on that one.
I was a little late on that one.
Yeah, that's kind of like you're over the. Hey, what's that over your shoulder?
Stupid.
Okay, here.
It all comes back together.
Well, in my defense, I wasn't looking at the chat. I was actually looking at other bands that started with the letter Z.
Dude, you were looking over my shoulder to see what was over my left shoulder, man. That's what you were looking at. That's what you were looking at.
Here's the original band members that I couldn't remember earlier. Dan Mitchell was on drums, Lanier Gregg bass and Hammond organ, and Billy Etheridge was also on bass. And I believe Lanier Gregg and Dan Mitchell were the guys that Billy Gibbons founded the band with as the Moving Sidewalks. And then when they left, Dusty and Frank Beard came in. So that was 1969. So 69 to 2001.
Is there any stories on what's up with Billy Gibbons' beanie or toboggan or whatever that thing is he wears on his head? That shag carpet looking.
I don't know, because for years they wore cowboy hats for years.
It kind of reminds, the little thing he wears now kind of reminds me like when you cut the hair off of dolls.
Yeah. Well, he has that, and he wears it's kind of it's not a top hat, but it's kind of
like a derby hat or something like that.
Almost like a derby hat, or like a what they call the police way back in the day.
Pigs.
No, before that.
About like
I think I know what you're talking. I think I know what you're.
But it kind of looks like one of those hats way back.
Yeah.
Used to call them gumshoes. Right?
I think that was a detective's, right? That detective was called a gumshoe. I want to. Yeah, I can't think of the right term. I was gonna blurt something out, but I think I'm totally off. So.
Eric Estrada.
But anyway, there you have it. Go check out ZZ Top's Eliminator if you've never heard it. Very solid album. It's their most successful diamond certification.
Holds up.
1 million albums. Albums sold. Holds up, just as Hialeah just said.
What number was this on the top 100?
The top 100. This was.
And who picked this album, Donnie?
This was. That can't be right. Oh, this was on the secondary list.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah. Because I don't know if you remember. Neil Young was originally.
Oh, yeah. I remember.
He reached out to me and said, I don't like you.
Take my song off.
Hey, since Comic Journey's in here, would you call ZZ Top influencers?
It might have influenced me a little bit to grow up.
All right. I just wanted to throw that out. Give Comic Journey a little nod. Is ZZ Top influencers? We're gonna go with yes, without the hate.
Without the hate.
There you go.
But as far as music, though, did they? Can you think of any other bands that kind of like?
You know what band? Kind of
because they kind of have their own sound.
They kind of remind. I think of them, and I think of. I don't know if I'm even in the right, but it comes to my mind is the Black Keys. For some reason, I don't know. I feel. I don't know. I think the Black Keys, because kind of like the Black Keys caught magic in a bottle too when they came up with that album a couple of years ago, and they were everywhere in commercials and all this, and they have been around for years.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of think maybe the Black Keys, but I might, that's just me. I think of them when I think of ZZ Top, but I don't know if they influenced them. And there we go. It's official. You heard it here first. Let the hate begin.
Maybe we should pose that question to Circumstances. He might have some.
He might have, yeah.
Influencers.
All right, bro.
Okay, then.
Let's do the wheel. Next album.
Let's get disappointed.
No, we ain't getting disappointed no more. There's everything on there is like fire. We know this.
Okay, but what were the picks? What's the next pick coming up? I think I went with Nevermind the Bolocks.
I think it's Sgt. Pepper.
You said Sgt. Pepper's coming up next?
Yeah.
And I think I said Led Zeppelin.
Yeah.
Perfect. You're saying, okay, what's your pick that's coming up? Let's see who wins.
I was going to say Led Zeppelin too, but here we go.
Let's do it. Say it, Bo. Come on, that's your line.
Oh, no, finally.
Yes.
Wow.
About time. Finally. He ran away. He's gone.
Where's that? Oh, it's in the truck. No, it's not.
I started. Okay. I have never listened to this album.
Ooh,
What?
You're in for a treat.
I started it the other day, and this is like a double album.
Yep.
Yes.
So I think I heard the first side.
I'm just going to put something out there. This is probably the greatest double album ever.
Better than Grease?
Period. Greatest double album ever.
Bro, better than Grease, bro. Frankie.
Systematic, baby.
Does it have a hand jive in there? If it doesn't have a hand jive, son, I don't know what you're talking about, bro.
No, but it's got a clamp down.
Yes,
Okay, we'll see if the clamp down takes down the hand jive. All right. Better than Grease, man. Or Saturday Night Fever? Are you kidding me? This is gonna take out the Bee Gees?
Oh yeah.
All right, man.
Come on.
Double.
Look at that.
We're gonna find out in 2 weeks.
I'm putting that with the White Album. Like,
Fucking slamming the bass on a freaking stage. Come on, man.
Paul Simeon right there.
Dude, hand jive, bro.
There you have it. When do we want to do that?
I'm good for next 2 weeks if you guys are. I'm pretty sure I'm good.
let's just do it tomorrow.
If you want to do it next week, I think I'm good too. So we can talk.
No, 2 weeks. I'm fine with 2 weeks. It's a
You know
double
what?
album.
I like it, man. I like the 2 weeks, man, because I'm so happy to be here every 2 weeks. I really look forward to it.
We need time to listen to it. It's a longer one.
Yeah,
The thing is, you're gonna have to listen to it and then put on Grease and then do the comparison.
I need to be able to do my research too because I'm going to be busy this week.
All right.
I volunteered myself to go in and work overtime.
And you gotta watch the music video. There's a couple music videos, I think.
we might be a little more help on this next one too.
I'll actually talk on this one. I'll just sit in the back like this.
You're gonna be front. Okay, for the next one, you guys have to switch. Okay.
Okay, you got it.
Okay? All right.
You got it.
Yeah, you get in the back. and
Maybe
sit
I'll
up
get
front.
him to bust out the guitar and work on that. Do that little quick riff first.
Right, yeah. You all step to the back to the bus.
Death or glory.
Yeah, this one's got some good ones. I'm excited.
I love that.
You
I
can
love
choose.
that.
Let's do it.
I got this one on LP.
I love it.
Yeah, we got this on vinyl.
We can show that.
Oh, I wish I did. I mean, I kind of want to do this right now.
Yes, they were.
And they're influencers. We
Yes,
just have
they
a
are.
bunch of influencers on the show, bro.
Dude, this is like perfect album right here. This is like
We have to do The Globe by Big Audio Dynamite if we're doing this. Crickets.
Anyway,
Not even nodded or anything.
2 weeks. December 3rd, I think. Fucking December. What the hell? Anyway, London Calling by The Clash.
So this actually could be our last show of the year, maybe, or I mean, how do you?
Maybe it depends on
I
what
think
you guys
all
want
these
to do.
next ones I have
Because this will bring us in December, and the next show would be like
could be January.
Weekend before Christmas, maybe. I think.
something. I mean, I'm up for it, but
I'm good. If there's no family plans, I'm good.
Yeah, if you guys want to squeeze another one in, I'm good with that too.
let's do it.
Let's do The Clash first, though.
Yes.
Yeah. About time.
London Calling
All right.
with hand
Look
jive.
at this. That's right. Now, next time I'm going to influence on The Clash.
With the hand jive. God, that's bad.
2 weeks.
Cringing all over.
I got crying.
cringe.
Third in the meantime.
Cringe.